Well, this is a simple and nice, easy one to get you started. How's your weekend going so far?
Oh, yeah, all right. Good. We're going to a gig later on. Myself and Adam. Eleanor is in another band, a different band called Murder Club as well. And they're playing a concert in the pub in Newport, which is like an all-day festival. So we're going to that later. That'll be nice. I went out for some drinks last night as well. And watched the Wales football game. Our fine nation get a 1-1 draw against Croatia. So that was good. It's been nice. I caught up some old friends and yeah, great. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, all good here. To be honest, a kind of a bit of a busy weekend, but nothing quite as exciting as going to watch the football. Just kind of busy doing housework and normal life stuff, but all good here too.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. It's a real pleasure to hear that. And I hope the gig's great later on. It's always great to get out and support the small local scene as well, particularly following the pandemic and the closures of grassroots venues and all that. You guys know firsthand how important that is.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. The pub is very special to us. So it's our local venue and we always support it as much as we can.
So 3 months into 2023, we're coming to the end of March, actually, so about to hit the 4th month. How's the year so far been treating the Nightmares?
This has been amazing for us so far. We actually were lucky enough to be asked by a band called Casey to go out on tour in January, which is kind of a bit of a novelty for us because January is like a strange month to go on tour. A lot of bands don't tour in that period. So for us to be able to go on such a big tour and our first trip to Germany, which was incredible. Some of our favorite shows we've ever played.
Absolutely.
Was an amazing start to the year. And now rolling into the release of our debut album, we're really lucky to be having such like an awesome year so far.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Adam said. Really, not much to add there. Been a good start, and we got one more single, and the album's coming out in just under 2 weeks now, which is terrifying, really. After it's a weird thing because we've sat on it now for like 2 years, and so like when now it's like 2 weeks away, you start like going But you know when you listen to like bands talk when you're growing up and stuff, and they're like, oh, I've sat on this material. I don't know if anyone likes it anymore, that kind of thing. But not we know it's great, but it's still a strange feeling, isn't it, when something has been you've lived with it for so long, and now it's great just to see it come into the world, but also kind of scary.
One of the things that we often find, because you're right, this is not a rare thing. This is exactly how it is. If it's maybe not as long as that, it's still at least within a year, 6 months to a year for sure. Yeah. But one of the things that comes up is how it refreshes, particularly when it gets to closer to release date. So you guys will have heard these songs more times than you probably want to. And you may have got to the stage where you're a little sick of it. But as you get closer to this release date, you find it refreshes and re-energizes.
Oh, yeah,
re-excites you for it.
Absolutely. Like we've just recently seen the finished video for the next single, which is called Murder Season, which is featuring Will Gould from Creeper, and that was pretty exciting, wasn't it, Adam? Because we hadn't seen that, we hadn't seen it. So like when we saw it, we were just like, whoa! And he sort of re-energizes you. I know Adam feels that way about Murder Season.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's like you were saying, Carl. You live with these songs after you've been demoing them for months, which we were doing like during lockdown. So we really had a long time to work on the songs, and then you go through the recording process, and sometimes you can become so familiar with the songs you might lose that initial excitement of what that first listen feels like.
Sure.
But for us, when we work on the music videos and the visual side of these songs, it kind of springs them back to life, like in a different way. And I felt that with each of the singles, and like Ben saying with the fourth one, Murder Season, it's kind of just like really brought it home for me, like how excited I am for people to hear that song.
I don't want to talk too much about Murder Season. We're going to come back to that a little bit later on specifically. But what I want to jump on is, of course, you actually mentioned it, the tour with Casey. How incredible was that? What an incredible band to go out with. How did the Casey audience take to you guys?
I'll take this one, shall I? Yeah, they were great. On the whole, I think, yeah, we every show was great, and I mean that, you know, everyone was very well. They seemed very receptive. We did well on merch and that kind of thing. So I mean, you know, don't get me wrong, they were there. They wanted Casey. Do you know what I mean? And we respect that. We know that. Do you know? Yeah, especially when a band's coming back after that long. That's that important to people. So they're very much like a strong cult band. Like I've always known of Casey. They're I wouldn't say they are friends now, but I wouldn't say I knew them well before it. Adam did. But you know, we didn't realize, I think, how much people love them. Do you know what I mean? They're very loved. Their fans adore them. So like it was a special thing just to be asked to go on that run and to be exposed to that many people in each of those cities was truly an honor, and we're very, very thankful. We thank them. I think I thank them personally every day. And they had us on their bus. So I mean, I honestly can't. I've been doing this quite a while personally, and we all have in different bands, and it's probably the best I've ever been treated on the tour. It was magnificent.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
that is wonderful. So I want to go back a little bit here, really back to the start. You came to life in 2018, which, while it is 5 years ago, feels like a lot less time because of the reciprocity in years. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask, back in 2018, did you have a vision of what you wanted the Items to be? But particularly, that vision, was it then shaped in a different way because of the last few years, particularly the pandemic?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know if we had a particular vision when we started. It was like a very organic start to the band. Me and Ben have known each other for years through like our local punk scene. Literally since we both started playing gigs, you know, as teenagers, we've known each other a long time. And then me and Ellie are married, so we were already in a relationship when the band started. And then James started working in the pub, in our local pub. So the start of the band was so organic, just conversations of talking about similar interests and influences, to just like, oh, let's get in the room and write some songs. There was no grand plan for what the band would end up being. But as things progressed in those first couple of years, especially in 2019, we got like some management and started touring, which was amazing. Every step we didn't really expect to happen. So it was an amazing year for us. And then we went into lockdown, which probably did change things quite a lot, because we had lots of like half ideas for songs, but we all work full time. So we were all very busy. So it put us into a different situation where we were like, we've got months here where we could write an album. Like we could work on all of these ideas. And that was an amazing experience, really. I don't know if the pandemic hadn't happened, I don't know if we would have made this album. Definitely not the same way. So interesting start for a band, but it definitely made us, I feel, stronger as a unit, because we kind of, you know, we really leaned on each other in that period, and really, I think we thrived in writing songs in that period. Don't know about you, Ben. I
completely agree. Yeah, I thought lots of Zoom calls. We did like some quizzes, didn't we? Yeah. It was strange how like it's strange really how like something like that can bring you all closer together, isn't it? But, I mean, I think a lot of people felt like that with their friends and stuff. But no, it was. I completely agree with Adam saying there about the album. I just don't. It's a weird one, is it? Because you don't know anything like how the writing would have gone. But
yeah,
we're super proud of how it came out, and we made the best of a very difficult situation for everyone.
Yeah,
so we did. We were productive, you know.
Yeah, and it's really hard, as you said, to kind of retrospectively look back and go, well, what if this hadn't happened and how might it turned out? It's almost impossible considering how long it went on for. But you have mentioned it, and I want to get the date out now as well. It is your debut album. It's right around the corner. It's Seance, April 7th via Ven Records, that's UK and Europe, and Equal Vision Records in the USA and rest of the world.
Yeah.
So lockdown comes along, you decide you're going to start working or completing an album, as it were, or writing ideas. Maybe you didn't necessarily think you were going to do an album to begin with. When did the idea actually really start to take shape into what would become the complete project we have now?
Take it away, Adam.
I think to be honest, at the beginning of lockdown, probably right at the beginning, we knew that we had maybe 5 or 6 song ideas. So we knew that there was potential there to write an album. So when lockdown happened, my job stopped at the time, and I ended up losing my job during that period. And that gave me months to work on music and to write stuff. So me and Eleanor, we bought like a really basic recording setup for our laptop at home. I mean, like £100, the cheapest one that you could buy, like interface and microphone. And then we started working on songs. So probably right at the beginning of lockdown, we knew that there was enough ideas to start. And then those 6 songs turned into, I think, about 20 songs, was it, Ben, by the end of lockdown? So right, probably March 2020 is when we started working on stuff, and that went through that whole year of writing and demoing. And then I guess that vision just grew as the songs came out during those months, and turned into these 10 songs which we've put together, which makes up Séance, which is something we're incredibly proud of. And I would say it was over the period of those 8 months.
Yeah, because we are pretty proactive as a band, as people. I think we're told something that we're a bit of an anomaly like that, but by different people. Like we are, I wouldn't, not pushy, but we have a vision. We always creating goals, you know. So like we had thrashed out all the ideas over Zoom and stuff like that, and we definitely knew what we wanted to do with the album in terms of like the number of songs, and the songs by the end of lockdown, which is unusual, I guess, because we hadn't rehearsed them or anything really. We started rehearsing them towards the end, but it was more digitally done. Do you know what I mean? But still, to be able to be like, right, out of all the demos, these are the 10. We'd do that. We knew an order roughly, didn't we? It was interesting, but that's how we are as people. I think we're quite, one of our strong points is we know what we want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we work on this band every day. We literally are making something every day.
Yeah,
like we're doing this today. We're doing another podcast tomorrow. We're filming an acoustic video tomorrow. We've got we've got something every day, but we're always working on. So we kind of pride ourselves on that.
Yeah, we don't.
But that's how we want it to be.
Yeah,
we don't get people don't have to ask us to do much. We will do it, you know, which is good, healthy for a band.
It is, as long as you're taking time for yourself along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, it's not fully dominated, but yeah, it's our main passion. But don't get me wrong, I still make time for my wrestling.
So there's almost a presumption, considering the majority of the album, or at least what we got in the end, was written during the lockdown period, that it would have had an influence on what you were working on, what you were particularly doing. Did you find that was the case, or were you able to kind of avoid and tune out what was going on around the world and focus on what you wanted to do?
Good question. It's a great question. I don't know. I don't know if it. Do you mean in terms of if the writing was influenced directly by?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that. Would you, Adam? I wouldn't say that it's directly influenced.
I don't think it comes into the lyrical content of the album at all.
No.
I think I was kind of conscious personally, and like I write the majority of the lyrics in the band. I was personally conscious of how many lockdown records were going to be being made. And then alongside that, kind of not wanting to write the same thing as everyone else in the world at the same time, we kind of shaped this kind of story throughout the record of like the lyrical content, and obviously there's certain lyrical themes we touch on throughout the album, like mourning and like love lost, and those kind of reoccurring themes, which kind of just presented themselves. So I don't think lyrically it comes through. I think personally it was a great distraction. Like Eleanor in the band works like frontline on the NHS, so that whole period was really difficult for her, and something that was really present like in our household, and I think it gave us something to do, something to be creative with, and something to really maybe ease that mental strain a bit. I don't want to speak for her because obviously that's a personal experience, but I think it gave us a very welcome distraction. I think that's the best way I could put it.
Yeah, I imagine it creeps in terms of tone and stuff, you know, but I wouldn't say it directly. I don't think any of the songs, or well, I know none of the songs are about the pandemic necessarily. No.
I think you kind of touched upon it there. There was almost an expectation or belief that, well, you wrote it during the pandemic, whether or not it was direct or not, it would have seeped in. But ultimately, the fact that you're able to take any positives from such a universally negative period of time is worth celebrating.
Yes.
You know, and that's the thing. It doesn't take away from the horrid previous years and the continuing horror that we're experiencing today.
Yeah.
But it's still heartening to hear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So naturally, I think folks are going to be quite interested by the seance aspects of the influence. Talk to me then about these experiences and the effect it had on the band.
Well, I know Adam will give you his side of it, but from the stories that were communicated to me and listening to Adam and Eleanor's side of things, they, well, he'll tell you directly, but they started experimenting with these things again during lockdown. I know that from what they've told me that they had, you know, it did have an emotional impact and it was a tangible thing. So I'm not sure, you know, from what they say, I'm not going to start doing it. Do you know what I mean? That any messing with that kind of thing. And I think we all, you know, like we all respect, you know, that there, I certainly believe there's, you know, other energies and, parts of life that we don't quite understand. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to mess with that kind of thing. Anything to add on that, Adam?
Yeah, it was a really interesting thing to experiment with, like a seance or multiple seances. It's something that me and Ellie were both interested in, and we're kind of as a band interested in sort of the darker like arts and, you know, like macabre kind of influences for all of us coming through. But it was definitely an intense experience. It's kind of hard to explain it without sort of like just listing off a bunch of cliches which people would pick up with doing a seance or like a Ouija board. But yeah, we had a really intense and interesting experience when we first tried it. So it's not something that I would encourage everyone to try because it was pretty heavy. But yeah, it definitely took a big influence in writing the record, and yeah, it was an interesting experience.
It's one of those things where it's almost like it's hard to understand whether things are coincidental or not. Like genuinely, yes. I'm going to tell the story just because it happened yesterday. I put on again, could be coincidence, could not be, but I was driving my car and I put an album on that I haven't listened to since my father passed away like 7 years ago now, coming up to 7 years. And honestly, I put these songs on. There's Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and I've got a sunroof, and like I looked up and the sun just came from outside literally as I started playing the song, and I was like, this is weird. Do you know what I mean? You know when you feel something and you're like, I'm like, is there more, like, do you know what I mean? Is that my dad that's going like, yo? Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I do. I'm not I'm not a spiritual person really. I pretty much am an atheist, but I don't know. Maybe there are other forces we just don't quite fully understand in our subconscious or our conscious thoughts. So yeah, but yeah, sorry for the tangent, but yeah, definitely. They did seep into the lyrical content on the album, and I know that we kind of embellished it, but based From Above's video on those experiences, didn't we, Adam?
Yeah, that's pretty much directly what a lot of it looked and felt like.
Yeah, so we use that as inspiration for From Above, the video.
Oh, really? Oh, amazing. Thank you for sharing that story. Ultimately, I think that's what people want to hear is these personal connections and experiences, because everybody wants to get a personal connection with music. That is the dream, the hope of any artist. So if anybody's experienced something and can connect to what you guys are saying, doing on this record, that is it's the biggest win possible, I think.
Absolutely. I would agree.
What for you then was the most challenging experience of work on the album, be it the writing, recording, or even the waiting phase?
It's a good question.
The latter, I expect.
Sorry.
The latter, the last bit, the waiting.
Yeah, the waiting is
Yeah.
I guess is painful when you've got these songs that you love. But as a new band, that's kind of just part of the process. Our team that is around us now is all people who we've known for a long time, and people who we trust, and people, you know, who we love, and we're really lucky to have a team of people like that come around us. But that was all through this period of the pandemic, and then the following year of writing these songs. These different people came into our team, so it's taken a while for the songs to come out, and that's probably the most frustrating part, is just wanting those songs to be out in the world.
Yeah,
we're a new band, so the album coming out the way that it is all down to these amazing record labels that have come on board, and our management, and we're very thankful for all of those people. I'm not sure if that's the most, I guess that's probably the most difficult part that comes to mind. We did have a really scary period of, I'd say, about 3 or 4 days before we were due to record the record. A producer who was booked in to do the job had to cancel the job, and this was
literally days before.
3 days before we were going to record, and we all worked jobs, so there was time was booked, our accommodation was booked where we were recording, the studio was booked. We had no way of like canceling these things, so we had like a mad scramble of, right, let's make a list of every single producer who we could ask, do you want to come and record an album with us for 10 days in 3 days time, which is a pretty
on this budget as well.
Yeah. And somehow, I have no idea how it worked. I'm pretty sure if you tried that 10 times in a row, it would not happen. But somehow we ended up meeting Richard Jackson, who produced and mixed the record. And we met him within a day of making those phone calls. He's from the same city as us.
Yeah.
We had never met him before. Somehow.
So I picked him up in the car. We just drove him to live with him for a week, basically.
Yeah. We rang him, do you want to record an album with us? We start in 3 days' time. You'll live with us in an Airbnb in Pontyclean, and we'll make an album together. And somehow it worked. And now we absolutely love Richard.
I can't see us working with anyone else, like, you know, at least for now anyway. It's just again, going back to what I said earlier, like, is there something greater at play? Because that was too much of a coincidence. He knew all the touch points that we were into, and you know, all the bands, and like, you know, like, I mean, he saw like Bad Brains in Newport, for example, back in like whatever year that was, and it's, you know, just like, it was just bizarre. I was in the car, like, again, never met this person, and he just knew all these references that we were saying. It couldn't have been more perfect, and we're so thrilled with his work. And what a guy!
Yeah, he's amazing. So yeah, maybe those 3 days of panic were maybe the difficult of the whole thing, but yeah, we're really blessed with everyone we're working with on this record.
Absolutely.
What a hero, Richard. What an heroic
absolutely. Yeah.
Then the opposite side to the challenge then, and this is more about the particularly positive aspects of all the experience. Perhaps to narrow it down for you, something that you learned about yourself or the group in general.
What, during the writing, you mean? Sorry?
Yeah, writing, recording, waiting phase.
We definitely have grown to be, I've said this before, like a little family. More so than I ever thought. I genuinely didn't, like, when we started it was this band, it was seen as, it was, like Adam said, like, genuinely just no expectations at all. And it's grown to be something so much more important and like it is my life force. Do you know what I mean? We're putting everything into it, and it's more just how good we all are as people, how well we work on the road, how talented everyone is. Like I've said about Adam before, he ceases to amaze me in his ability to write songs every day, and he's like a machine. Not to put you on the spot there, Adam, but he's constantly writing and constantly coming up with new ideas, and it's inspiring to be around people that are so good at doing this sort of thing. And it's just a lovely little family. And we're doing some shows at the end of the week, and I just love being in a van with these people, listening to music and going around playing.
Yeah, I couldn't put it better myself, to be honest. I think I'm not sure if I can pinpoint what I've learned about myself during this period, but I've definitely come to realize like how important this group of people are to me, and like how important this band is to me. I think without writing this record during the last few years, like I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah.
So I definitely have got, yeah, I've got a lot of love for this band and the group of people.
Absolutely. And
That's
and it's
fantastic.
also, just to add something, like I wanted to say on the previous question, really is it was also interesting. Like it was a period there where we hadn't released music for like 2 years. 2 years, Adam? Maybe
It was a long time. Yeah.
And in this current era, the way people consume music now, I mean, where we remember the time and we love it. You know, we love. I still buy like a record or by here. So I mean, we love consuming music like that, but these days you've got to constantly put out content, don't you? Like, so it's amazing really that we seem to be okay without releasing music for like 2 years. So it's nice to finally have some new stuff out. But yeah,
it's only going to help you grow, as you said. In fact,
absolutely.
you were able to keep on the forefront of people's mind
without
doing that.
We were able to do that with our imagery, basically, and I'm just so thankful that people waited. You know, is one my point, I guess. We finally given people what they need, and that's the music, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to something we talked about right at the start, but specifically a question around it. Murder Season, quite an important track, but partially because ultimately you have a guest on it, one of the UK's finest vocalists, Will Gould of Creeper. How did that come about?
I've known Will for a long time through previous bands, and we've played shows together, probably going back 10 or 12 years.
Oh, incredible.
Will was in a band called Our Time Down Here, and I used to play in a band called Save Your Breath, and we had done shows together way back then. So we've always kind of stayed in touch through like different projects and just, like I guess just online, just like keeping in touch with one another. And then when we were writing the album, when we, started working on Murder Season, just felt like a really natural fit. It felt like Will's vocals, like suited the second verse in that song so perfectly. But we just kept it in mind. And when we reached out and when we were recording and said, hey, we've got this song, we can send it over. If you want to sing on it, we would be honored. And Will was just really receptive. He's always been really like kind to us as a band and been into what we're doing. And he was up for collaborating. So it was as easy as sending the song over on email. Will recorded it in his friend's bedroom because we were still, I think it was like April 2021.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So we were still like, there was social things in place to mean that you could only do so much. Yeah. We had to bubble to record the album. So so we couldn't get Will to the studio. But we just sent him the song. He recorded it in a friend's bedroom, sent it over, and we didn't have to do anything to it. It is exactly what you hear on the record. He just did an amazing job. We love Will. He's a great guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
huge fans as well. They're great. They're a great band.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a particular track then from the album that hasn't been released yet that you're quite looking forward to seeing the reaction to more than any other?
I mean, it has got to be. I guess it is Murder Season because.
Okay.
Well, there are a couple for me, but Murder Season definitely. There's a couple of points. It's probably the biggest song on the album. It's probably the most soaring song. It's a bit more. It's some of the tracks are cinematic anyway, but it is definitely got some energy that different sort of energy to it, and obviously with Will, not the guy from Him, with Will on it, that it's going to be a special song for a lot of people, I think. And then there's another one called Let the Light In, which I adore. I don't even play on that one, but it's just a sort of a vampire ballad from the perspective of a vampire, and it's a very beautiful song. That's mainly Adam and Eleanor on that one, and also For Heaven's Sake, there's another one called For Heaven's Sake, which is a bit more alkaline trio.
Oh, very cool.
A bit more punk side of our sound. So yeah, they're mine. How about you, Adam?
I'd say this changes every day for me. 'Cause I love the whole record, but today I think I would probably say "It Follows," which is the opening song. Again, that's probably like on like the more punk side of the record. It's one of like our most like intense and like powerful songs. And the lyrical content is pretty much directly influenced from the movie. I don't know if you've seen the movie It Follows.
Yeah.
Great modern horror movie.
Yeah.
Up for debate, maybe.
No, I didn't know.
I love it.
The first person I've met that doesn't say that. Anyway, different story though.
Yeah.
Well, I love that movie,
Yeah.
and I think that I'm really excited to hear people's reaction to the start of the record on that song.
Well,
Pink and Grey as well, which is overlooked. I feel there's a song, second track, Pink and Grey. It's a good one.
well, without offering too much spoilers out there for folks, you won't want to miss this one. Don't sleep in this album when it comes out. It was my listening experience this morning in preparation of talking to you, fellas, and yeah, just make sure you don't miss out on this, people. You will regret it.
Thanks.
Right, we are coming to the end now, so we're going to. Well, first up, actually, you've got a co-headline tour, UK tour with Miss Vincent in April. That's later in the month after the album release. Well, all the focus needs to be on that. April 7th for Seance, that tour with Miss Vincent. I do have to ask, what might the rest of 2023 look like for you right now? Do you have anything you can talk about in place, or is it just right now we're focusing on the record?
There's not too much we can say right now about the rest of the year as these things go, sadly. But there's lots of touring plans in the works. So lots of exciting stuff for the rest of the year. But yeah, this is something that we've been building up to our whole time as a band. So we're so excited for people to hear this debut album, and we're going to be out there touring as much as we possibly can. That's all I can say at the moment about that. Yeah, but we're going to be around and playing a lot of shows in 2023. That's
all I want. I know you can't talk about it. Everybody knows you can't talk about plans until they're announced. But what we want to bloody hear is that you have them. If you turn around and go to me, we're just going to see what happens, it's not so interesting.
No, we got some stuff cooking. We have got some stuff cooking.
We have.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, fellas, we'll reach the end point of the video now where we have a quick fire round. Random set of questions pulled from 500. 10 are chosen for you. It can be stupid, silly, serious, whatever. It's up to you. Take it in turns, and we begin with, what is a perfect Sunday for you?
Who's going first? Me? I'll go first. Usually, if I'm being brutally honest, it'll be a wrestling pay-per-view of some description in the night, which I love to watch, and maybe practice. A nice drive. I often, when we have new music come out on a Friday on any artist I like, I'll take a long drive over the mountains because we live near a valley, or I live near a valley, and I'll take in the music, probably get home, play with my cat, and watch some football. That'd be my all those things together would be my perfect Sunday.
Perfect Sunday for me would be a nice chilled day. I would probably go to the gym in the morning, and then just like chill out at home with Ellie and just do nothing because I work all week. So Sunday is a day to relax.
Absolutely. A bit of rest, absolutely. Okay, considering you mentioned It Follows, this one actually works quite nicely. If you could visit one location in a horror movie, completely safe, where would you like to go?
Oh, that's a great question.
That was a good question.
I would probably say my favorite horror movie ever is The Shining. So I would probably want to go to that building, to that hotel. Yeah.
The Overlook.
It does exist, doesn't it? That is a real place.
Yeah, they have shows there, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Temple played there.
My mind's running wild here, but I have to say probably, where is he? Michael Myers, his house in the original Halloween film. I'd like to go there and just hang out and watch him do his thing, I guess.
No, that's cool.
I don't want him to hurt me though.
Of course, yeah, that's completely safe.
Yeah.
We talked about spirituality earlier on, but this one, do you believe that alien life exists out there?
Yes.
Yeah, I do. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what it is, but I definitely believe that there's something out there.
I think they're here. I think they're already here. In a way, I've heard some different. I listen to a lot of this stuff. I'm a bit of a a UFO nut, really. But I've heard some people think they're under the ocean, don't they?
Mm.
Come out through the ocean. There's different aspects of thought on that, and I could talk about that for a while. So I'm not going to, because I'll go off on a tangent. But yes, definitely believe that.
Who's a band or artist that you'd love to work with one day?
Oh, that's easy for me.
Mhm.
Alkaline Trio would be the one for me. Alkaline Trio. I'd love to for Matt. We've talked about this, and maybe if we talk about enough, we'll manifest it. But we'd love Matt Skiba on a track. You know, maybe on the next album. We'd like to do another guest vocal, and for me, that would be ideal. What about you, Adam?
The obvious one for me, I think, would be The Cure, which obviously is, you know, one of the biggest bands ever. Yeah. So I know it's a bit ridiculous, but
yeah,
they're my favorite band of all time. So yeah, I'd have to say Robert Smith of The Cure.
Fantastic, fantastic. What part of world history do you find more fascinating than any other?
Oh, that's a good question. Egypt, probably. Just I think basically my grandfather was based there during the war as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he was, some of the photos are so cool, and I feel like it's like a pilgrimage I got to do one day. Like I haven't done it yet, and
oh yeah,
you know, like something for him, and just to see. I'm fascinated by the Sphinx and the pyramids. It's just there are other things obviously, but they again going with aliens. Is that aliens? Who knows?
Ties in nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, definitely I'd love to go there, and that whole era of time is truly fascinating to me.
That's a really good question. I think maybe I would probably have to say like the beginning of man, I guess. If I had to think about like a period of time which interests me the most, it kind of just feels crazy to even think about that period of the world. So yeah, the dawn of man, I guess, it was probably the most interesting one I could pick.
Actually, aliens are pretty. Aliens. Keep talking about aliens. You've started. Dinosaurs is what I mean. Dinosaurs are class, aren't they? Let's be honest. Maybe that's Jurassic Park talking, but I'd love to see. I'd love to see Jurassic Park. I'd love to see aliens. Aliens again. Dinosaurs. I'd love to see dinosaurs.
Okay, right. Let's get off the alien topic with this one. What is in your perfect sandwich?
Oh God.
I could do this one easy, I reckon.
Go on.
Yeah.
I love like a New York style bagel. So I would pick like all vegan ingredients, but like a sesame seed, like New York bagel with like vegan like deli meats and cheese. That's like my ultimate sandwich.
Sounds great. Some sort of like brie and cheese contraption would be mine. Yeah. I love melted cheese.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of melted cheese. I like, just love brie. Cheese, 3 cheese sandwich. Let's go.
Oh, fantastic. What's the last TV show that you binged?
The Last of Us.
Same.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, definitely Last of Us. I'm not that much of a binger, really. I do watch. I'm a big football fan and wrestling, and when we practice, and like I'm always at gigs and stuff, so like it doesn't leave me an awful lot of time to. My list is huge. Do you know what I mean? People will go.
Yeah.
And I watch a lot of movies. I love the cinema. So once I've done all that in my week, I usually don't have much time. But the Last of Us is, or was, it really caught my imagination, that one. And you know, sometimes something is so universally praised that surely it must be good, and I put that into that category, definitely. I think you were like that as well when you had him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you have any phobias? And if so, name one.
I have so many.
What's the biggest?
Yeah, the worst thing for me is probably snakes. I'm terrified of snakes.
I'm not a big fan of flying. I've got a lot better as I go. Well, when I was younger, I loved it. Then I hated it until basically my dad died, and then after that, I was like, the pain of that what can hurt me, basically. So I'm not too bad now. I have a couple of gins and I fly fine. But I also got a fear of peanuts because I got a peanut allergy, so I'm scared of eating a peanut again, and my eyes blurred in with.
Oh God!
Yeah, it's not good. I got stuck on a train between Berlin and Warsaw, and there's like a 4-hour train. I ate a peanut waffle or something like that, and it was not good. I had an antihistamine though, luckily, and it's pretty much saved me. And then I got there and went to hospital in Warsaw, and It's just an ordeal. And there was no sleep.
Wow.
I was just sat in the carriage, but it's rocking. It wasn't nice. It wasn't good.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad it turned out okay. Well,
Yeah,
incredible.
I'm glad too.
Penultimate track. Have either of you ever heard of or seen RuPaul's Drag Race?
Yeah, I love it.
Right. Makes this one easy then. You have to lip sync for your life. What are you doing?
Oh, that's a good one again.
I would probably pick Why Can't I Be You by The Cure. I feel like that would be like an amazing like drag queen like lip sync song.
Oh, I've got a few of these. It is one in my mind that I was thinking about the other day that I'd love to do, but for some reason my mind, probably because of Lost in Translation, goes to More Than This by Roxy Music.
Oh
yeah, a slow one.
Yeah, I just feel like I could. Oh, yeah, I know what it is. Crash Test Dummies. God shuffled his feet. I don't know why, but I like to do a low vocal.
Low vocal would be funny, but yeah.
I was thinking about this actually. I was going to say to Adam, I basically I don't think I can sing, but we used to do a thing called we used to be a thing in the pub called Stars in Their Eyes, where bands would act out another artist. I don't think we're doing it anymore, but I was thinking I was going to ring our band and be like, should I do a vocal for that? Should I be the singer in Crash Test Dummies and do like 4 songs?
Fantastic.
It'd be fun, but also probably horrible. So.
All right, last one, and I'll let you go on the rest of your day. And this is simple. What's an achievable goal you'd like to reach with the Nightmares over the next 12 months?
I think with the album coming out, as a band, like Ben said earlier, we do like to set goals for ourselves. And I think I would love to just do we're kind of branching out there in April to do like a co-headline tour. But as this record comes out and as the year passes, I would love to do some headline shows, maybe at the end of the year. Yeah, that's the first thing that springs to mind. I don't know about you, Ben.
Yeah, we'd like to get some. I'd like to see the fan base, so to speak, swell a bit more. Hopefully, start doing some well-attended shows. Getting 100, 150 people through the door regularly. That would be a great joy for me. And I just want people to identify and feel the human side to the album, because obviously we're quite aesthetically, we have the vision and our appeal. But I just want people to feel the emotion in the songs and hopefully connect with them, as I have with previous albums in my life. And I'd like it to be important for people. And that's all that matters to me, really. I just want to see people care,
Well said. And the thing is, that's more than achievable. I haven't heard Seance. I expect that to be a guarantee.
Awesome.
April 7th, it is out. Ven Records and Equal Vision Records. The tour at the end of April with Miss Vincent. And what you can't talk about, but what will come later in the year, simply keep an eye on. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Carl. You're a top man.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?